it is. Running it down on these niggas.
Sex, drugs, money, and murder, my nigga. You know how we get it, my nigga. Still be painting them pictures, my nigga. Ripping that raw and fucking your bitches. Sex, drugs, money, and murder. 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 Niggas, they never will hurt you. Niggas, they never will hurt you. Sex, drugs, money, and murder. Sex, drugs, money, and murder.
How the traps right, understand how to get that. Ran down on them niggas with a flip back. Knew I never seen another nigga live like that. I was still getting stacks back. Had to fuck around getting them packs back. Niggas.
Salute, man. Why they always lying, man? Why these dudes always lying, man? So, I'm watching Adam 22. I was watching Vlad too. And I'm gonna keep it real, like with that Bobby Shmurda interview, like a lot of cap was in that interview. Like I wish Bobby would have talked about the situation that happened to him in the trap house. He almost lost his life, but it is what it is. I don't knock him. He's matured a little bit, but it is what it is. And I know Shorty that he was talking about, but that's for another story. But let me say this about the Maino interview that I saw with Adam 22, and we gotta call it out. You know what I'm saying? We gotta call it out. But this is my thing, right? Oh, and let me say this, right? Where Bobby and Adam was walking, that laundromat, that's the laundromat that if you remember Sean video, that's Gangsta. That's the laundromat where Black Rob hopped out the silver gray Mercedes Benz. That's the same laundromat right there in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Sean put that area on the map in 2000 with that That's Gangsta video. Filming it right there in that same area in that laundromat. But you young whippersnappers don't know about that, but it is what it is. So let's get back to this conversation about Maino. So I'm watching Adam 22, and I heard Maino say some lies, man. And I'm gonna keep it all the way real, man. Maino, stop the lying, brother. Like, stop the lying. I want to give a big shout out, and I'm gonna say this again, to Coach the Ghost. I want to give a big shout out to Nino Brown. I want to give a big shout out to K.I. I want to give a shout out to them, right? Mr. Whoever you want to name, I want to give a shout out to them. Because that Warren Choo situation and the live that K.I., Mr. Nino Brown did on YouTube, where they brought the peace to the Wu and Cho movement with Bleezy up there, Millie, Bambino, and the real Wolves, okay? The real Wolves and Chos from Brownsville. Shout out to Garvey, shout out to Van Dyke Houses, shout out to all them brothers, right? Maino, and I'm gonna keep it real, man. I don't care with nobody. I don't care, because a lot of these older dudes, man, they be capping and they don't be telling the truth, right? R.I.P. Pop Smoke, because I wanna also say R.I.P. Pop Smoke. You know, I don't like how a lot of dudes, you know, in Brooklyn made a point to say that, yo, we not rocking with a lot of, and I don't got an issue with Adam, but I could remember that dudes said out there on mouth, yo, we ain't doing no interviews with Adam and all this, and they was the main ones thirsty to do an interview with Adam 22. But y'all say y'all rock with Pop Smoke. That's how you know a lot of these niggas be fake and they don't really rock with nobody. You know, they mess with you temporarily and it's a conveniency for what you can do for them. So let me get to this, right? So if you know the whole situation, and I'm not even getting on that, but the whole situation, the whole issue that happened back in the days with the homies, you know, the Hood Star homies, and, you know, the Wave Gang homies. But what people don't know, that they all was cool at one point. You know what I'm saying? They was doing the dancing, and then they started doing the rapping. But they all was cool, right? They all grew up together. Everybody, family is connected. It's like that, you know what I'm saying? And they was at odds for a long time. You know what I'm saying? At odds for a long time, for years, right? And fast forward, brothers is older, brothers got kids, and you know, a lot of brothers still live in the environment, still live in the community, and you know they gotta go through the hood every day, and they don't want to be dealing with that, you know, which I respect with what, you know, Mr. and Nino is pushing the peace, Bleezy, K.I., these brothers is pushing the peace, because that's dope. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of these young dudes that's out here, they wasn't around when this started. You got to remember, these issues started in the late 2000s, 2008, 2009, 2010s. You know what I'm saying? And dudes got indicted for this, right? Bodies got dropped, right? And a lot of dudes is in their, you know, late 20s, you know, going into their 30s or already in their 30s. And they got families, man. And they don't want to have to deal with none of that BS, none of that drama. You know what I'm saying? And what people got to understand, a lot of people manipulated it. A lot of these dudes, like OP, who's not from Brownsville, want to keep up the nonsense. And what I don't like and what really disgusts me is that, yo, Maino, you ain't reach out to them young boys to stop it. You didn't reach out and you didn't clear up that and tell Adam, yo, they squashed it. They doing something different. It's a peace. They already pushing for peace. And then it took the dudes that was the founding members, the original Choos, the original Woos, to come together and make an olive branch. Like, what they did is noble. That's a Nobel Peace Prize. And I didn't hear nothing that Maino said in his interview, that they squashed their differences and they pushing for peace. And this happened, and they did this 4 months ago, right? The whole conversation, the whole pushing for peace, that happened 4 months ago. Man was never went out there. None of these dudes have went out there and promoted this. But you going Adam talking about, yo, I was going to squash it. If you was going to squash it, you would have been squashed it. Stop the capping, bro. Stop the capping, bro. Like, that's what I don't like about these dudes like Maino and them. Like, stop the capping. If you was going to bring unity and you was going to unite them, then you would have already united them. You didn't unite them. You capping on Adam trying to say some BS. That's nonsense, bro. Okay? It took Nino Brown, Mr., you know, Coach, K.I., Coca, you understand what I'm saying? Bleezy, Bambino, the push for peace, saving the youth, and promoting that. You ain't say, yo, shout out to them, yo, the young bros, they promoting the pushing for peace. You ain't 1 minute say any of that. You ain't say that. Because if you say you could have squashed and you could have united the Woos and the Choos, you would have been did that years ago. Because remember, you had DOD. You could have squashed that years ago. You could have squashed that years ago. You could have squashed that years ago. You didn't. You know what I'm saying? These dudes be capping, bro. Maino could do so much of that. You would squash a lot of that. The beef with the hoolies. You know what I'm saying? Out there in the style, where you from? You ain't squash nothing out there. When Shorty got killed in the courtyard, you ain't say, yo, we pushing for peace and let's stop all the violence. No. Dudes are still losing their lives in the style. You know what I'm saying? So why you going up there on Adam 22 platform lying to that man and trying to say that, yo, we was trying to unite? You didn't try to unite nobody, man. I don't like when dudes be BSing. That was some bull, like a whole lot of bull that you set up there on that platform. It's crazy to me that you really lied to Adam 22 and told that man that you was basically trying to unite. This is the man that took a man's chain when a man got shot and had it for how many years? And he would have never known until you had your differences with homie that you exposed the fact that you had that man chain. Like, make that make sense, B. I'm trying to figure this out. Make it make sense to me. The math ain't mapping, man. The math ain't mapping, and it ain't making no sense. It's a lot of cap. You know what I'm saying? If he could squash so much drama that's going on in Brooklyn, he would have been squashed it. He ain't do nothing. You just an opportunist. You just exploited young dudes, and it took them to squash it. Stop trying to give yourself credit for something that you ain't do. Okay? It took Mr. Nino Brown. Shout out to Nino Brown. Shout out to Leezy, K.I., Millie. We giving them dudes coking on them. We giving them credit because they, who is from Brownsville, okay, who's from out there, that was around in them times, that said, nah, we doing this for the youth. We squashing the beats. They did that. You didn't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? And in fact, you didn't even bring the dudes that you should have brought dead. You know what I'm saying? Because you trying to take credit. Why you ain't bring the certain dudes from the Ville? Because if you going to do it, bring the dudes from the Ville. And if you talking about the dudes in the Bronx, bring the YGs and the OYGs. But if you talking about Brooklyn, you ain't bring no hood stars. You ain't bring no YGs. You ain't bring no hood stars. You ain't bring no wave gang. You know what I'm saying? You ain't stop nothing. You know what I'm saying? They started a peaceful movement. You ain't pushing for that. I don't hear nobody. I hear OP talking about, yo, we ain't on none of that. We ain't on no pushing for nothing, no peace. You know what I'm saying? Trying to diss dudes because these dudes took advantage of a situation where dudes was beefing with each other. And now dudes is at a certain age. They not with none of that. Now dudes want to keep it up. They want to keep it going. Come on, man. They want to keep it going. These dudes don't want to see no drama. They want to make it sure that kids don't lose their lives out there, man. You know what I'm saying? Dudes is, you know what I'm saying, they got to walk with their kids in the street and an op see them and want to get active. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. You know? These dudes don't be calling it out. Let's really call it out. You know? Let's really call it out, man. Like, all these people want to start gang wars and want to continue, like, all the hyping up. You know what I'm saying? If y'all fake OGs was really doing what y'all was doing, y'all would have squashed it a long time ago. Y'all didn't. Like I said, it took the dudes that was a part of the movement to come together and have a conversation and say, nah, we got to squash this. Let's do it for our kids. Let's do it for the youth. You know what I'm saying? Now, everybody not going to listen. But if dudes is pushing for peace, what's wrong with that? But Maino ain't help. Maino ain't never used his platform to promote that. So why he on here capping like he talking about, yeah, I was gonna squash the issues with them and like, stop it, bro. Like, these dudes this is my thing with these older dudes, man. It's a lot of cap with these dudes, man. And that's why dudes don't respect these fake OGs, because these dudes be fake OGs. Because if you was going to squash the beef, you would have squashed it a long time ago, man. A lot of people would have not lost their lives in them streets. If it was really like how these dudes saying they was going to do, they would have been did it. You know? They didn't do that. They didn't do that. You know? They didn't squash anything. Dudes are still, you know what I'm saying? And they took recent, in February, that dudes went in and did the live stream, which was dope. That was a dope move. I'm proud, you know, I'm proud of that. That dudes was pushing for beef, peace. But these dudes, like old boy talking, like, Maino, nigga, you didn't do anything. You didn't solve nothing, bro. So, stop the lies, man. Stop the lies, bro. Stop the lies.